Hi, and welcome to my adult coloring channel, JI Colorist. My name is Jody, and today we're going to look at the hashtag 10 books to touch in 2022. I have linked the video where I first saw this, which was on YouTube channel Spicy Cat Colors, and she started or is encouraging the hashtag 10 books to touch in 2022, and her video will be linked in the description. So thank you, Spicy Cat Colors, for the idea, and here are my 10 books that I want to touch. So the idea for the hashtag is pick 10 books in your coloring book stash that you have not touched or done any completed pages. So you might have a WIP in it, but you haven't completed any pages. And they're not books that we're going to finish in 2022, but they are books that we want to at least spend a little bit of time in and give some love to. So the first one is Millie Murata's Animal Kingdom, and it's the Postcard Book. I'm not a Millie Murata fan, or at least I've never colored in her books. I find it very not intimidating, but the amount of line work that she does to her books makes it very hard to color. There's just so much zen-doodly stuff in her books, but I know it can be done, and I have seen some beautiful pages of people have completed. So I'm going to give it a try because I don't want to waste having books that I'm not spending time in. So that's Millie Murata's Animal Kingdom. The second book is another small book, and it's the Miniature Secret Gardens. I was quite excited when Joanna came out with the miniature books, and I was hoping that the pages in there would have been scaled, drawings that would fit a miniature size book. But what actually they did was just shrink down every page that was in there, and now it's super tiny. So I find, the pages from Secret Garden that I did enjoy are just the leaves and the detail are so small that you really have to have a very fine point to something. And I don't have any fine liners, so I'm still trying to figure out what mediums I can use in a book like this. But I was excited when I got the book, and then I guess I was a little bit disappointed once I actually looked at the pages within it. So I don't want the book to go to waste, so I'm either gonna give it away or give it some love. So it's on this list, and hopefully it gets some love. The next book is Coloring Fairies, and I bought this book from Barnes & Noble a few years ago, and it's a book that has paintings on one side of the page and then a coloring page image to match the painting on the other side. So the paper is very smooth, so it's there's not a lot of tooth on it, so I'm not expecting great results, but I think that I would like to try. And I did get it because I liked seeing the color palette and how shadows and shading are done on the painting, and then I can replicate it on the coloring page. So I just need to jump in and do some work. So that's Coloring Fairies, and there is no one particular artist, so it's it just says it's Arcturus, so as the publisher. So the next book is Secret World's Magical Color and Search Journey by Stephanie Law. Now this book I actually did acquire in 2022, but it's on the list because I know that it's a book that if I don't put it on the list, it's not going to get looked at or worked in the near future. And the pages are just not my usual style. The paper is very smooth. It's a lot of detail on the page. So, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of hidden little items. I'm sure though that the pages can be done beautifully, and I'll learn how to tackle it. So Secret World's a Magical Coloring and Search Journey. Now the next book is probably a surprise to most people, but I have never colored in a Kirby Roseanne's book. This is my first book that also was acquired in 2022. And I've put it on this list because I know, again, if I don't put it on the list, I probably will not color in it. I'll look at the pictures, and they're gorgeous. And I do like this version of the book because there aren't a lot of hidden little items. I don't go for that mainly. So I do like this book out of all his books. I am happy to have this book. So it's on here so that I can give me some incentive to get to work on it. So that's Fragile World by Kirby Roseanne's. Another book I picked up from Barnes & Noble was Birds of America coloring book, Identifier Guide. It's by Amber Books, and it was published in 2017. So these are just, each page has a different bird. It's got a picture of the actual bird, and then it's got an enlarged area to color the bird in. So I think it will be fun to do, and it'll be good practice just to get birds and feathers and textures done. And I think I will enjoy it once I get to it. I don't plan on doing a lot of backgrounds and stuff. I think I'm just going to look at the picture and try and get the bird done. So yeah, so I think that it can be a work on realism, actually. So that's Birds of America coloring book. This is my first Coloring Haven book I purchased from Barnes & Noble again in the States. It's 40 Beautiful Portraits, and it's the Momo Girl issue number 44. So I've had it for a few years. I got it so that I could practice doing faces. So it's the Coloring Haven paper, so it's kind of like photocopier paper, printer paper, and so it's not super great, but I know that people have colored in these books and done a really beautiful job. So I think that I will just get it out and try and get some pages done. So Timeless Beauty Special issue 44 from Coloring Haven. This book is a the Woodland watercolor book for adults. It's part of the Painterly Days series, and it's by artist Christy Rice. And this is watercolor paper, and it's got pictures. You can actually pull them out. They're watercolor paper, like I mentioned. It's got tips on how to use it. Some of the pages have sayings on them, some don't. Some of the pages are repeated, and it's just, I'm planning on using it as a place to use my watercolors and maybe practice some techniques and stuff. It's printed on, it says Luxe watercolor paper, ready to paint on, and there's 25 illustrations in it. So now that I have finished my watercolor mandala book, it'll be nice to have another book that I can use watercolors in. So that's Painterly Days, the Woodland watercolor book. The next two books are books that I've had for a few years and had never used or never colored in them until 2022. So this book is Johanna Basford's Lost Ocean. I've had this forever, like I've mentioned, and it was an untouched book until I finally colored two pictures in it in 2022. I did the whale, I believe, in March, and then there's another starfish page, if I can find it. Yes, the starfish page, and I did this in March as well, 2022. So I'm counting this as 10 books to touch because it was untouched at the beginning of the year, and I hope to get back to it again during the year. So that's Johanna Basford's Lost Ocean. My last book for the 10 books to touch is Mouse Guard by David Peterson. This book I have had for at least 2 years. I love his illustrations, and I had never gotten up the nerve to color in it until 2022. So I have completed a number of pages in this book, and I started in March of 2022, so I'm still counting this as 10 books to touch since it was untouched at the beginning of the year. So that, or these, are my 10 books to touch. I am going to check back later in the year and do another video, kind of an update of where I'm at, if I've actually gotten to some of these books, and how many pages I've completed in them. So I'll do that once more, maybe late June, end of June, and then again in December. So again, I'd like to thank YouTube channel Spicy Cat Colors for the idea, and I think that this will help me get to some of the books that I wouldn't normally tackle in my coloring journey. So thank you very much for watching the video. If you have subscribed, thank you for subscribing. I'm really excited to see where the channel's going, and I hope you have a wonderful, colorful week and creative. Thank you.